Hey guys, I'm going to go over your fraction division checkpoint with you. Number one, there was 1/3 of a box of cereal left. Four brothers shared it evenly. How much of the original box of cereal did each brother get? Well, your equation is going to be you're taking the 1/3 box of cereal and you're dividing it by four boys. Next, it says solve the problem, show your work. So one way you could have solved it was taking an array, dividing it into thirds and shading that 1/3 because that's what was left, and then taking that 1/3 and then dividing it into fourths, and then one brother would have gotten one piece out of the 12 pieces. So the answer is 1/12. Another way you could have solved the problem was taken 1/3 and divided by 4, and you could use the keep, change, flip method. So you're going to keep the 1/3, change the division sign to a multiplication, flip the 4, and remember 4 would be over 1, so you would flip it to be 1/4, and then go ahead and multiply it out. 1 times 1 is 1, and then 3 times 4 is 12. So each brother got 1/12 of the original cereal box. Number 2, Daryl and his dad baked 4 apple pies for the family reunion. They cut each pie into eighths. How many pieces of apple pie did they bring to the reunion? So you're going to start with 4 apple pies. So you're going to take 4 and you're going to divide it into eighths because they cut each pie into eighths. So that's going to be your expression. So down here, you've got your 4 apple pies. And then for each apple pie, they took and cut them into eighths. And then if you took 4 times 8, that would be 32. Another way to solve the problem would be 4 divided by 1/8. And you could do the keep, change, flip. So keep the 4, change the sign, flip the fraction. So 1 over 8, if you flip it, would be 8 over 1 or 8. And then 4 times 8 is 32. So they brought 32 pieces of apple pie to the reunion. This one, find 1/4 divided by 5. It says to show your work. So what they did was they drew an array and then they split it into fourths this way and they shaded 1/4. And then they divided it by 5 going the other direction, and then the answer is one of those, so it would be 1/20. Another way you could have showed your work would be 1/4 divided by 5 and kept the 1/4, changed the sign to multiplication, and then flipped the fraction because this would be 5 over 1, so you'd flip it to 1/5. And then you multiply your fractions out. 1 times 1 is 1, and then 5 times 4 is 20. So your answer would be 1/20. Your next problem, you needed to write a story problem to represent 1/4 divided by 5. And here's an example. 1/4 of the school hallway was being painted by Zach and his 4 friends. If they all painted the same amount, how much of the hallway did each of them paint? Whatever your story problem is, it needs to start with 1/4 of something, and then you're dividing the 1/4 by 5. And that would be an acceptable story problem. Find 3 divided by 1/2. Show your work. Well, it starts with 3, so you have to have 3 of something. So we have 3 boxes here. And then we took each box and divided it in a half because we're trying to figure out how many halves are in 3. So divide each box in half, and then you can see, if you count them, that you've got 6 halves. So your answer is 6. 3 divided by 1/2 is 6. You also could have done the keep, change, flip. So keep the 3, change the division to multiplication, flip the 1 over 2, so it would be 2 over 1 or just 2, and then 3 times 2 is 6. That's another way that you could have solved. And last but not least, you need to write a story problem that represents 3 divided by 1/2. And here's an example. 3 large cookies were cut into halves so that each member of the Swanson family could have a half. How many Swanson family members are there? Whatever your question is, it must start with 3. So 3 of something, and you had to divide it in half, and that would give you the answer of 6. So start with 3, divide them each in half, and you get your final answer. All right, have a great day.